Please come back and talk to us. Our app doesn't have free lollipops. Make the bold move and switch to BOS today. Visit bankwithbos.com. Member FDIC.
Brain-free.
Banana split, peach cheesecake, Vermont maple. The flavors never stop at Snowbiz. Cherry and grape to jungle juice and cotton candy. You've never had shave ice like this. Snowbiz.
Snowbiz.
Laurel west of MacArthur.
Unpunished crime. Do you wonder sometimes if you're next on a criminal's target list? It's hard to know the real answer, but it's easy to make sure that you and your family are more secure. Barcom Security protects by minimizing response times. When trouble strikes, you're backed up with a live person who takes your call 24 hours a day. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, there's still a lot of people without power this morning, around 4,190 just in Springfield from last week's storms. It's now close to a full week that some people have been without power. We're going to focus a lot on that with the council roundup coming up after 7 o'clock with last night's Springfield City Council meeting. So stay tuned for that. But up now, let's talk about the ongoing litigation against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. Good morning. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. So on the 4th of July, Governor J.B. Pritzker was in Highland Park to respect the one-year anniversary of the Independence Day mass shooting that happened there, taking the lives of 7 people and dozens of others injured after an assailant used a semi-automatic rifle from a rooftop and fired dozens of rounds into the crowd a year ago on July 4th in Highland Park. Then, of course, after that, you had the debate around gun legislation looking to ban certain types of semi-automatic firearms. After the Democrats passed that in the final hours of the previous General Assembly, Governor J.B. Pritzker signed that ban into effect January 10th. Since then, there have been lawsuits filed in state and federal courts, and we're still in a holding pattern for both the state-level case that was filed by State Representative Dan Calkins that's still in the Illinois Supreme Court. No indication when they're going to release a ruling on that, but that deals with the issue of special legislation and also the issue of equal protections. In federal court, you've got the cases challenging the state and local bans in Naperville, Chicago, and Cook County. Those cases from the Southern District and the Northern District all consolidated in the appeals court, still waiting on the appeals court to issue a ruling in that case. So Governor J.B. Pritzker, let's just kind of revisit some of what he had to say on 4th of July in Highland Park, where he discussed the need, he says, for more firearm legislation and more gun control efforts, not just in Illinois, but also across the country. So here is Governor J.B. Pritzker touching on that, as we heard yesterday.
Remember, we've banned assault weapons, we've banned high-capacity magazines, we've banned switches that turn regular guns into automatic weapons. And here in Illinois, those are things that will keep people safe and alive, but we need a national ban. And I've spoken directly with the president, I've spoken with our leaders in the House and the Senate, and I'm hopeful, I really am, that remembering a terrible day like what happened a year ago is something that'll spur action. And this community remembers all the other communities that are suffering from gun violence, including Chicago, including Rockford, including Peoria. And that's a wonderful thing about the people in this community. But we all should be thinking about everyone who is under threat of gun violence from semi-automatic weapons and who's actually suffered from a mass shooting especially over the last couple days in other states.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker there talking about the need, he says, for a ban on semi-automatic weapons nationwide. And this is actually something that even the White House yesterday highlighted in a news conference, just briefly talking about the president's schedule. Karine Jean-Pierre took to the White House podium and specifically highlighted Illinois as to a beacon the White House sees as something that could be done nationwide. Here is Karine Jean-Pierre from yesterday during a White House news conference touching on the issue of Illinois and the need that they say is for more gun control across the country. And go. 1, 2, 3, go. Here we are. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yesterday, the president also marked 1 year since a shooter armed with an AR-15 style weapon fired upon a crowd of Americans gathered for an Independence Day parade in Highland Park, Illinois. And he highlighted how in the year since, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Highland Park Mayor Nancy Wotering, legislative leaders, and numerous advocates and gun violence survivors have fought tirelessly to ban assault weapons, like the one used in Highland Park, as well as high-capacity magazines across Illinois. But as we have seen over the last few days, there's a lot more work to do to address the epidemic of gun violence that is tearing up our communities, tearing it apart. As it relates to what else can be done, one of the reasons that we lift up states like Illinois and other states that have been able to get an assault weapons ban done or get more done as it relates to gun reform, because it's important. It's important to highlight and to show that states can also get involved and make change in their own state and protect their communities, protect their kids, protect people who are vulnerable, who are dying, essentially because of this epidemic.
So again, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House spokesperson, answering questions and highlighting Illinois as what they see as a good goal to get done nationwide, having a ban on certain semi-automatic firearms and magazine capacities. Of course, that was in the mix of dozens of questions about cocaine being found at the White House. But regardless, we'll leave that to some of the other outlets to further delve into when it comes to that white powdery substance being found at the White House. But the issue of firearms, of course, we've heard the governor, we heard the White House. What about the gun rights advocates? Todd Vandermyde, I connected with him yesterday to get his reaction to what the governor had to say on Independence Day. And here's Todd's initial reaction to that ongoing question and concern.
I think he's clutching to whatever pearls and straws he can to make it seem like that, they're on the upper hand of this. But I think he's got a lot of concern that the courts are going to strike down the gun ban that they put in place. And he has a, very valid fear there because based on everything we're seeing with stuff falling across the country, Judge Easterbrook and his comments seem to be the outlier.
So about those comments from Judge Easterbrook, Governor J.B. Pritzker on 4th of July, Independence Day in Highland Park, talked about the questions that the judge raised during the hearing from last week. And here's, again, the governor's comments about those questions that the judges asked.
I'm heartened by the questioning that took place at the appeals court the other day, where Judge Easterbrook and Judge Wood asked questions about, is it really going to be a popularity contest, which guns we're going to allow? Because the people who are advocating for semi-automatic weapons were saying, well, gee, everybody's got one now, so you can't ban them. Well, that's ridiculous. If everybody had a missile launcher, we shouldn't ban missile launchers. So I think they took the right tack. I'm hopeful that the decision will come down along the line of their questioning.
Now, regardless of which way the ruling comes down in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, it's expected to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. The timing of all of this still very much uncertain. What did Todd Vandermyde have to say about that? Well, we'll hear about that next here with Springfield's Morning News. Stay tuned. I'm Greg Bishop. 6:18 now. Let's take a quick break, look at that forecast, and keep you updated on what the weather situation is. as we still got a fragile utility environment in Springfield. But today, mostly sunny. It's going to be a bit more mild, 82 the high after some rain last night. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 69. Friday, sunny, but a slight chance of showers, the high of 82. Saturday, showers likely, 78 the high. Sunday, the high of 82 with mostly sunny skies. Right now, 67 degrees at 619 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all shifts and all positions. Apply today in person.
When I commit to someone, I want them to commit back to me for, life. That's why I love Verlo mattress. When you buy a Verlo, you get something nobody else offers, a commitment to helping you love your sleep for as long as you own your mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee. Those other places, you get a measly 60, 90, maybe 120 nights. Not even close, guys. Wake up, sleep better. Verlo. Listen, at Verlo Mattress, saving a lot on a comfortable mattress with a lifetime comfort guarantee is easy. Why? Well, because we make our mattresses right at the store. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, and voila, you got it. We pass the savings directly onto you every day. So hurry in today to your local Verlo, where there are no middleman markups. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
50% off everything is yours for a limited time through July 6th during the Endless Summer event at Banana Republic Factory. Celebrate the season with linen suiting, breezy dresses, timeless neutrals, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank. Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
I'm heartened by the questioning that took place at the appeals court the other day, where Judge Easterbrook and Judge Wood asked questions about, is it really going to be a popularity contest, which guns we're going to allow? Because the people who are advocating for semi-automatic weapons were saying, well, gee, everybody's got one now, so you can't ban them. Well, that's ridiculous. If everybody had a missile launcher, we shouldn't ban missile launchers. So I think they took the right tack. I'm hopeful that the decision will come down along the line of their questioning.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker at Highland Park on Tuesday being asked about the hearing in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals in the challenge of Illinois' gun and magazine ban. I connected with Todd Vandermeid, gun rights advocate, also somebody who's been consulting with plaintiffs in that case, and got his reaction to the governor talking about the hearing and the ultimate trajectory of all of this, and the question of, well, what about missile launchers? If missile launchers were commonly owned, can we not ban missile launchers? Here's Todd.
You know, it seems like Fonzie jumped a shark bigger than the governor. And now the governor has, reciprocated in that. They keep jumping to the absurd. Nobody here is arguing for missiles, rocket launchers, bazookas, or anything of the sort. They just keep jumping to the absurd that if you allow rifles, shotguns, and pistols, then you have to allow all this other stuff. And nobody is arguing. That's not even before the court anyway, but they keep just trying to drag the argument to fall back on if that's where they have to go to. They can't sit there and explain why modern semi-automatic firearms should be banned. And I think you saw that when Judge Easterbrook asked the question. One of his few enlightening moments is to when he sat there and asked the question of the state is, would the Winchester lever gun, the 1892, the gun that won the West, be protected under the Second Amendment? And Pritzker's people, the Attorney General's people, nobody could bring themselves to say, yes, that's a protected arm. And that was the modern-day equivalent of an AR back in 1892.
So again, the question of how the case is ultimately going to go in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, still unknown. Whatever the outcome, it's fully anticipated it'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court for them to deal with. But all of this while you've got questions of how do we keep the streets safe from not just deranged individuals with semi-automatic firearms, but also from gang violence. And we see that. Next segment, we'll actually delve into some of the happenings in Chicago over the holiday weekend, and a large gathering that resulted in 100 shots being fired, according to Chicago police, early yesterday morning. So we'll hear about that. But how do we combat this? Is it to go after law-abiding citizens' ability to obtain certain types of semi-automatic firearms? Or is there something deeper percolating under the surface that's causing this type of violence to occur, not just in the streets of Chicago, but elsewhere throughout the state and across the country as we see those continued headlines? And while the governor and Democrats seem to say, well, we just have to go after the gun. It's the gun. It's the gun. It's the gun. It's the gun. Others see it in a different way, seeing that there's some deep systemic issues. Maybe it's the family. Maybe it's mental health. Maybe it's lack of education, a lack of opportunity, and these types of things. But Todd, he laid out some of the things that he sees are problematic with policies being enacted by Democrats in the state of Illinois that he says are not keeping the streets safe.
You would think so. You'd think we'd be kind of like, we've got almost all the laws California has, And you would think that we would be right up in there in the safety zone, but it's just the opposite. FOID card's been around since 1968. It hasn't done anything except keep guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens. I mean, we've had the FOID card, and we've had some record years of 900 murders in Chicago. They've had everything they wanted in Chicago. They had handgun bans. They've got semi-auto bans. None of that has mattered. You know, has the state semi-auto ban slowed anything down in Chicago? No. I think that their answer to failure is to heap more laws on law-abiding citizens. So, you know, it just proves that all of their plans are abject failures, that there is the gun control does not work because they continue to keep on piling on people like me and you. They don't go after the criminals. Oh, no, we're going to give them electrical monitoring. Oh, no, we're going to let them go out for 48 hours. Oh, no, we're not going to require cash bail. So I think what we've seen is that their blame against the law-abiding gun owner is an abject failure, and their idea of criminal justice reform and having a catch-and-release program as if it's a bass fishing tournament is another abject failure. So all of their policies in toto are pretty much abject failures.
So the debate continues with the litigation ongoing in both state and federal court against Illinois' gun and magazine ban, with the unanswered question of how to fully address in a meaningful way the violence that we see on the streets of Chicago and elsewhere throughout the country. So we'll be watching all of this and more. Coming back, we will talk about the violence in Chicago. So stay tuned. It's now 6:30 on WMAY, and let's get a check of headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story: Earth's average temperature on Wednesday remained at an unofficial record high set the day before. The average global temperature was 62.9 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer. That matched a record set Tuesday and came after a previous record was set Monday. While some countries had colder weather than usual, heat waves hit cities from Peru to Canada. City Water, Light and Power says that as of 5:30 this morning, about 6% of customers are still without power. A line of thunderstorms yesterday evening caused about 1,000 power outages, but crews have made steady progress since then. For those who lose power, the City of Springfield, the local YMCAs, the Salvation Army, and the American Red Cross have set up cooling and battery recharging stations throughout the city. Locations can be found by calling 217-789-2270 or by visiting WMAY.com. Governor J.B. Pritzker recently signed a law that will expand access to overdose prevention supplies. The new law will allow for trained overdose responders to legally dispense adulterant testing kits, which currently may only be provided by pharmacists, physicians, and other medical professionals. The aim is to prevent people from unknowingly ingesting drugs laced with fentanyl by making testing supplies more readily available to whoever needs them. The new law will take effect January 1st, 2024. 37 wooden memorial statues known as vigango have been repatriated from the Illinois State Museum to the National Museums of Kenya. The Illinois State Museum anthropology curator, Dr. Brooke Morgan, will be traveling to Kenya with other U.S. museum representatives to learn more about efforts to restore these vigango to their proper places. The figures were taken from their native villages in the 1980s and were sold to art collectors before being transferred to the Illinois State Museum. The museum noted that it has no more of the statues in its collection. Springfield's chief utility engineer, Doug Brown, warned of potential future power outages during a press conference yesterday. He said the city's infrastructure was in a weakened state and that systems remain fragile. There are thousands of damaged trees in the city, and windy weather could cause them to come into contact with power lines, provoking more power outages. He said the city remains on track to reach its goal of 97% power restoration by Sunday. The Illinois State Fair has pushed back its livestock entry deadline to tomorrow due to hardships caused by power outages and property damage in the region. Entries must be postmarked by July 7 or dropped off by then at the Emerson Building on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Illinois State Fair Manager Rebecca Clark said, "Health, life, and safety should always come first." The fair begins August 10th and runs through August 20th. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
Broadcasting live all summer long with Mike Quimby at Green Hyundai, and again, #1 across the board.
Hey, how about one of the top auto manufactured sites called TrueCar? It's one of the biggest, guys. And I've been telling you all year, under $30,000 SUVs, yeah, we got them, and it's rated #1, the Hyundai Tucson. It gets 32 miles a gallon on the highway. And then under $40,000 SUVs, #1 Hyundai Santa Fe, and #3 Palisade.
That's awesome, Quimby. And listen, man, again, all summer long, the incentives really just roll out constantly.
No question about it. Up to $7,750 off on the Ioniq 6.
And guys, where it's always about you, the customer, not about the cars. Mike Quimby says it best. And also no payments for 90 days.
It's not about the cars. It is truly, truly about the people.
Green Hyundai, 1200 South Dirksen Parkway.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Sweet Summer Sale, June 30th through July 10th, and get 30% off paints and stains with prices starting at $31.14. That means 30% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 30% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
50% off everything is yours for a limited time through July 6th during the Endless Summer event at Banana Republic Factory. Celebrate the season with linen suiting, breezy dresses, timeless neutrals, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 82, low around 59 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 81, low around 64. Saturday, showers are likely with a high near 77. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 82. And Monday, sunny with a high near 85 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by Lauterbach Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
Hi, I'm Ed Lex, your Springfield Edward Jones financial advisor. There is nothing more important to me than understanding what's important to you. Only then can you and I work through our established process to build your personalized strategies and the specific actions needed to help you achieve your financial goals. I'll continue to partner with you and your family throughout your life, revisiting your goals and risk tolerance, as well as the strategies we develop to help keep you on track towards your goals. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Brain freeze! Blue tongue, purple lips, how long will it last? All summer at Snowbiz.
Snowbiz.
Everybody's favorite summer stop is back with more flavors than you can count. And every Tuesday is buy one, get one free day. Snowbiz, Laurel, west of MacArthur.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Less hassle, more travel. We've got connections, Springfield to anywhere. The Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport has recently undergone improvements to make your experience flying to and from your hometown even easier. Security lines are short, parking is always free, and customer service is a top priority. Book your next American Airlines flight from SBI at AA.com. Fly local, fly SBI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. As the number of unruly, disruptive, or downright violent passengers continues to rise, a number of airlines are trying to do something about it. In Europe, Ryanair has taken the unprecedented step of banning all duty-free alcohol purchased at the airport by passengers before their flights. From now on, any duty-free booze must be checked in, and any passenger attempting to smuggle alcohol into the cabin could be removed from the flight. Earlier this year, 15 drunken passengers were kicked off a Ryanair flight, causing a 5-hour delay. This could be the start of similar onboard alcohol rules from other airlines. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, designed for curious travelers. Viking offers all-inclusive voyages on all 7 continents, with no children and no casinos on board. Learn more at Viking.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Chicago police reacting to a busy weekend with the president visiting late last week, NASCAR races, flash flooding, and even mass shootings. Back at it, Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Just got a call from a listener off air. He called my cell thinking that it was the on-air number. It wasn't, but he asked an important question. I've seen this online, reverting back a little bit to the issue of litigation against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. The listener asks if one of the judges in the appeals court is one of the judges that Governor J.B. Pritzker donated to. No, that's not the case. All right, this is the federal court. Federal judges on the appeals court are appointed and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Now, on the state Supreme Court, that's where you had 2 justices running for election last year that each got $1 million from Governor J.B. Pritzker. So those are the state Supreme Court justices where that question of impropriety is that hasn't been fully dealt with. So that's totally separate from the federal appeals court, where you've got the judges on the appeals court that are appointed and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. So totally different. Wanted to make sure we got that out there. We do have another call coming in. Let's go ahead and grab that here really quick before we get into Chicago police talking about a busy weekend. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Going once.
I'm sorry, that would be me?
That's you.
Okay, my thing is there's 50 million of us, 100 million probably, and we are facing fanatics in the numbers around maybe 7,000, 10,000. That's it, maybe nationwide. And it's really pitiful that we can't get a 5 million man march in Washington, D.C., or a 1 million man march in Springfield, or a 500,000 man march in Chicago. All this talking about lawsuits and, boy, they're going to take away our rights and they're bad people and they're Marxists and all this kind of stuff will not do anything when the press and actions and motivations and things like this are what's going to work. And we don't do any kind of actions at all, except for one march a year from the ISRA with colored shirts, which is great. But I mean, we need people like myself who are businessmen, who are honest people, and we need to force the fact that honesty must be honored.
Well, and I'll tell you, even the White House was talking yesterday about how the vast majority of people support, quote, common sense gun legislation. I don't know if you really drill down into it if that's the case. So you're saying that there needs to be a public showing, not just the numbers of 2.4 million FOID card holders in the state of Illinois, let alone the tens of millions of gun owners who own tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, of semi-automatic firearms. You're saying that those numbers need to be seen on the streets.
Yes, absolutely. And wherever we see these 50 fanatics and these moms demand lying, these moms demand fanaticism. I mean, I know what it's like to lose a child. I know what it's like to get that phone call. And I don't demand that they do away with everybody that wants to smoke marijuana. My son was given some bad drugs by some scumbag and he died. So I don't go after every single person who's innocent that wants to smoke a joint. But this is what we're facing. We're facing fanatics who are trying to change the United States to something else, and they're holding me accountable, which is BS. And there's tens of millions of us that they're holding accountable. I mean, somebody comes by and kicks your dog, so then you're going to want all the neighbors to be held accountable for the one person that came by and kicked your dog. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that obviously showing public support one way or the other is effective, but so are lawsuits, right? Appreciate the call. Got a ton to get to here, but of course we'll be monitoring all of that ongoing as we do each and every morning. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere, Bishop on Air, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. All right, let's talk about Chicago violence and a busy weekend over the weekend. Started late last week with President Joe Biden visiting Chicago. Then you had the NASCAR races going on. Then you had flash flooding going on. And while the numbers for Independence Day when it comes to violence were down from the year before, there were still some violent actions that took place even after Independence Day as the weather lifted. So here is there's the acting Chicago police superintendent yesterday talking about just the overall situation and how he feels they handled it.
I contribute a lot of it to the hard work that the men and women of the Chicago Police Department and all the agencies did this weekend. This was a big, big weekend. Probably, I don't remember in all the time I've been a policeman, a weekend where we had so many things clustered together, so many events on top of 4th of July was probably, historically, has been probably our most violent weekend. And the numbers were good up until, and we know, what we faced early this morning. Well, of course, it was very warm. A lot of people, a lot of gatherings, a lot of people were out. And that's almost a recipe for what we're seeing across the country, not just here in Chicago. But we try to have some tolerance and use some balance to tell people we want them to have a good time, but not to impede upon other people's rest and their peace when you start going into 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So we need to do a better job of dispersing some of those large gatherings. Well, we're still investigating it to see if it was something internal or if someone from outside shot into the crowd. When we have over 100 rounds of spent cartridges out, we know that didn't just come from one side, but we're still investigating that. I know we had one person that's deceased, and we give the condolences to that person's family, but we're still investigating that whole scene. It was very early in the morning, but the detectives were out there, and they're still out there now investigating that scene. We're looking back as far as hindsight. Something more should have been done, but we're still looking at were there calls for service, what exactly happened up until the point that they were shooting. I know I saw some reports that said there was a small group of maybe 25 to 50 that increased over time as it went early into the morning.
So again, that's the acting Chicago police superintendent talking about responding to crime. And in one case, there being 100 shots fired at a gathering of an impromptu or an unsanctioned street party of sorts. But really, the other issues that popped up wasn't just, the mass presence of NASCAR on the streets and the flash flooding. You also had fireworks displays all over the place and questions about how these were addressed by law enforcement, taking to the streets, responding to phone calls about fireworks going off, and even one large structure fire being blamed on illegal fireworks being fired off. And here is the acting superintendent talking about the priorities they had when it comes to addressing some of those calls for illegal fireworks.
It's not low on the totem pole when somebody, of course, a fire and somebody gets hurt, but we have to really pool our resources to do other things when we have calls, shots fired and people battering each other. So we have to really gauge what we're going to respond to as far as the fireworks.
But then there were questions about the violence.
You obviously are pleased with how things went with all these challenges beginning with President Biden's visit. So can you just talk a little bit about what was different this time? What made the violence numbers be a little bit better? What made you successful? Was it, because you don't have more officers. What was it your planning? Like what made the difference?
I'd like to say that the planning, but again, I give the credit to the men and women of the Chicago Police Department. the hard work that they do. I was over on 108th and Wentworth, where we had a large team gathering. I think the officers recovered about 6 guns from there. So that those engagements are like armed encounters, right? So in that, we keep people from being hurt. We dispersed the crowd, had a few arrests, but we got about 6 guns. So those type of events, when we're involved in those, that's when we do our best work. But this weekend, a lot of planning, a lot of long-term planning went into NASCAR, of course. We're always planning long-term for the 4th of July. Of course, the weather being what it was for NASCAR, I'm sure that kept some people off the street who normally would be on the street, and we see what happened yesterday early in the morning. So I still think that we did a great job overall. You can't say that to the people who lost their lives, that we did a great job, but the effort was there.
The effort was there, the acting superintendent for Chicago Police Department says. They say that they did a good job. Can't say that for those that lost their lives.
You obviously
but
they
could do better, he said. And I think that's going to be the mantra moving forward. What's the answer? How do we truly get to the root cause of all of this? That's a much larger conversation than just a 7-minute segment on a morning talk radio show. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And coming back, we'll talk about a contract update with state workers. Governor J.B. Pritzker acknowledging that there is a tentative deal. How much more is it going to cost? We still don't know. So we'll get to that next year. It's now 6:49 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Some people would call him a loser. He ran for state office. He was beaten. He started a business. He failed. He ran for Congress. He lost. He was nominated for vice president. He lost again. But he knew only those who never tried are the real losers. And Abraham Lincoln was no loser. Persistence. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
I'm sleeping so hot.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm on fire. Send help. Finally, can you help?
For the last time, ma'am, turn your thermostat below 90 degrees, stop cuddling up next to this bear, and take the plastic cover off and get yourself a Verlo mattress.
During Verlo's Sleep Cool sale, we're offering discounts on our firm, plush, pillow top, and hybrid V7 through V11 sets. On top of our discounts, we're giving you a free Cool Contact mattress protector, a set of cotton or bamboo sheets, or 2 of our Verlo gel pillows. Pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and save even more. So beat the heat this summer and get yourself a Verlo mattress.
Thanks, Verlo.
Verlo mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
Every industry has specialists, like Alan here. He knows radiators.
Radiators. I love them. Don't even talk to me about brakes or fuel lines.
Just radiators.
Radiators.
Sally is a specialist in cakes.
I think pies are an abomination.
Really? Pies?
Yuck.
Then we have Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. You know what they're great at? Appliances. Nothing else. No TVs, no computer printers, no radiators.
Who's got a problem with radiators?
Nobody, Alan, but you can't get one at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Too bad. They're missing out.
I'm Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. All we do is appliances. And when that's all you do it better than anyone else. Our associates on our sales floors know more about them. Our delivery people are better at installing them. And our technicians are better at fixing them. All right here in Central Illinois. Wow!
I can't believe you don't like pies, though.
What do I look like, some kind of a peasant?
No.
Cakes are really the best thing.
Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
They may have told you it can't be done. You may think there is no way to do it, but at Rex Battery, changing an iPhone battery is a piece of cake. It's true, many iPhone models have batteries that can be replaced. And if yours is still working fine, except for the battery, don't get rid of it, replace it. We have the tools and the right battery to put extra life in an old iPhone. If your iPhone has a dreaded crack down the screen, we can fix that too. For decades, Rex Battery has been finding the right battery to get the job done. Big, small, and hard to get to. iPhone batteries can be replaced in many of the models so you can have more talk time, more selfie time, and more time to learn that TikTok dance. New batteries and broken screen repair now available at Rex Battery. From the tiniest hearing aids to the biggest farm equipment, nobody knows batteries better than Rex. Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Give local, save local. Right now, when you donate blood, we'll give you a limited edition sun shirt with UPF rating of 50 or a $10 gift card voucher to one of our participating businesses. Even if you try to give blood and find out you can't, we're still giving you a gift. Visit the Impact Life Donor Center today at Wabash and Chatham Road near Goodwill or on South Main Street in Decatur. Please, give what's in your heart because we are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
So at the start of the new fiscal year on Saturday, it was also the beginning of what should be a new contract year for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees and the state of Illinois. A contract that could cost in excess of $6 billion. How much more is it going to cost? We don't know. With the now July 6th, 6 days after the start of the new fiscal year, Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday was asked about a tentative deal that was reached over the weekend. Here's the governor laying out some of those scant details as to how much more this is going to cost taxpayers.
Do you have any general reaction to this tentative agreement? And can you say how much money was added to the budget for fiscal year 2024 to accommodate this agreement?
In answer to the first part of your question, no, because it is still being considered by their membership, and so I want them to have the opportunity to review it themselves and discuss. I'm pleased that a tentative agreement has been reached, and of course it's been a friendly negotiation in the sense that we knew on both sides that we needed to reach an agreement, and it was reached roughly on time by the end of the fiscal year. So we're pleased. We have great state workers in the state of Illinois. They do terrific work for the people of Illinois, and it's important that we reach an agreement and then one that is mutually satisfactory, both for the workers of Illinois, the state workers, as well as for the taxpayers of Illinois.
And the governor was also asked if the workers' rights amendment that voters approved last year had any role in this. And the governor said, no, from his understanding, it did not. But he didn't give any kind of indication as to just how much more this is going to cost state taxpayers. Miley Smith with the Illinois Policy Institute, she's their labor expert, and she reacted to this, ultimately saying that with no numbers, there's no way of knowing just how much this is going to cost the state's taxpayers moving forward.
Unfortunately, not everyone gets to see it before it's final. It's the taxpayers who will be on the hook for any of the sweet deals that Pritzker hands to AFSCME's leadership.
And one thing to also consider is the governor was endorsed by the AFSCME union. How does that play into this, and how much of the cost is going to be on taxpayers?
Government unions in Illinois are heavy political players and particularly fund Democrat lawmakers and officials with their millions of dollars in political donations. And that, in essence, leaves taxpayers without representation at the table.
So again, contract tentative deal reached could be in excess of $6 billion for all state employees, not just the AFSCME union. AFSCME so happens to be the largest union representing state employees. But overall, the staff costs for government in the state of Illinois is in excess of $6 billion. And how much more this is going to cost? It could be $300 million. And why this is important is if it goes and is more than what's allowed for in the budget, how are they going to make up that cost difference? You've got people concerned that this could lead to a call for some kind of tax increase after the first of the year, or even a push to bring back the idea of the progressive income tax. If you recall, they would have to amend the Illinois Constitution to change from the flat income tax to a tiered structure, charging more for those who make more money. That was an idea that voters rejected in 2020. But some worry that if the contract cost for state employees exceeds what's in the budget, then you're going to have a call for more tax increases. So obviously these are all moving pieces that we'll be watching closely, but interesting to see the interplay between government unions, the politicians they support, and how taxpayers are worked into that ultimate equation because, well, they're paying the bill. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY. It's coming up now on 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Justin Finch. Tragedy in Newark, New Jersey. A deadly fire on a cargo ship docked on the city's waterfront. 2 firefighters killed.
There's about 5,000 cars on a boat, just to get a perspective of what we're talking about here. It's a very huge structure that these guys had to breach.
Newark Mayor Ross Baraka. Several other firefighters are hospitalized with injuries, including smoke inhalation. The fire is under control, though flames and at least one explosion still being reported. Philadelphia's deadly shooting this week now leading to a lawsuit. The city is suing the makers of ghost guns after confirming 2 of those makeshift guns were used in the shooting.
Police say Kim Brady Carricker was wearing a ski mask and body armor during that blocks-long shooting spree Monday, armed with an assault rifle and handgun, firing at random.
I heard a young man screaming like, help, 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 please help. There's people walking by him. So I helped him out.
5 people were killed in the carnage.
ABC's Trevor Alt. As summer heats up, a warning about rip currents. Authorities say there have been more than 4 dozen drownings already this year, and at least 800 people rescued over the 4th of July holiday. 300 in Volusia County, Florida, outside Orlando alone. The U.S. Labor Department set to release another jobless claims report showing just how many Americans have filed for unemployment.
This week's jobless claims report is being released the day before the Labor Department's June employment numbers. That alone makes it significant. And then there's last week's report, which defied what many economists expected. After a few weeks of rising, then holding steady, the number of first-time claims tumbled to a 20-month low. This week, they want to see if that drop is a blip or proof that the job sector really still is strong. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
Paid actor, not a real customer. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 44-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Welcome to Ethos, a new kind of insurance company that believes life insurance should be hassle-free, affordable, and accessible for everyone.
For around $1 a day, I got a 20-year, $250,000 term life insurance policy without a medical exam. All I had to do was answer a few health questions and snap, family protected. It was quick and easy. Ethos is 100% online. I got a quote in seconds, applied in minutes, and got coverage in hours. Just answer a few health questions. No medical exam, no blood tests, no hassle. Look, nobody wants to plan for the unthinkable, but it would be so much worse to not plan at all. So don't put it off. It feels great having the peace of mind knowing that my family is protected.
Ethos, the 100% online hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Don't wait. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
All right, we got the council roundup coming your way next. Last night's Springfield City Council meeting, they did re-up the state of emergency, but there was also a lot of information that we've got to plow through about getting your power turned back on and the entire process of everything from getting rid of spoiled food to getting reimbursed for spoiled food. How many hotels were out of power? What's the economic impact of that? So stay tuned. We got tons to get to with the council roundup next. It's only here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk. It's now 7:03.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. City Water, Light and Power says that as of 5:30 this morning, about 6% of customers are still without power. For those who lose power, the City of Springfield, the local YMCAs, the Salvation Army, and the American Red Cross have set up cooling and battery recharging stations throughout the city. Locations can be found by calling 217-789-2270 or by visiting WMAY.com. The Illinois State Fair has pushed back its livestock entry deadline to tomorrow due to hardships caused by power outages and property damage in the region. Entries must be postmarked by July 7 or delivered by that date to the Emerson Building on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Illinois State Fair Manager Rebecca Clark said, "Health, life, and safety should always come first." The fair begins August 10th and runs through August 20th. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed a law that provides that when a person is injured by an impaired minor, the person has a right of action against anyone who willfully supplied the minor with drugs or alcohol at their residence. He also signed legislation providing that persons released from incarceration will have a 180-day grace period before beginning to pay outstanding fees, fines, taxes, or any costs arising from the criminal proceedings. Newly passed legislation will expand access to overdose prevention supplies. The new law will allow for trained overdose responders to legally dispense adulterant testing kits, which currently may only be provided by pharmacists, physicians, and other medical professionals. The aim is to prevent people from unknowingly ingesting drugs laced with fentanyl by making testing supplies more readily available to whoever needs them. The new law will take effect on January 1st, 2024. Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Everywhere with the WMAY app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 82, low around 59 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 81, low around 64. Saturday, showers are likely with a high near 77. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 82. And Monday, sunny with a high near 85 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by Lotterback Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
On Saturday, July 15th, the Cardinals take on the Washington Nationals, and you will not want to miss it. That day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will add an Albert Pujols bobblehead to their collection. This exclusive bobble, presented by Coca-Cola and Schnucks, honors and celebrates Pujols' career, highlighted by 703 home runs. Don't miss out. That's Saturday, July 15th. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Backing up is Nootbaar. He's at the track. He jumps, and he caught it!
On Sunday, July 16th, the Cardinals host the Nationals, and there is a giveaway for everyone. That day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a mystery Cardinals Henley, thanks to Bayer. And the younger fans like me will get in on the fun too, when 10,000 kids ages 15 and under receive a Cardinals all-over print hat. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Lars Nootbaar. Make your family memories at the ballpark.
Brain freeze!
What is the magic that's in Snowbiz Shave Ice? How in the universe of all things can you take plain ice and transform it into a summer specialty? Where do these Snowbiz flavors come from? How long will your lips and tongue be purple? Snowbiz is ready for another taste bud chilling summer with the biggest Snowbiziest collection of flavors ever seen. And Tuesdays are buy one, get one free. Snowbiz.
Snowbiz.
Laurel, just west of MacArthur.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Now it's time for Greg Bishop and the Council Roundup.
And tons to get you from the Springfield City Council meeting that was postponed from Tuesday, the Independence Day holiday, to last night, where the city is continuing a state of emergency. We'll hear about that, but we'll also hear a lot from the utility and from Public Works and aldermen's questions as to how power is being restored. But as far this morning, about 4,000 some odd customers still without power. That's after tens of thousands were knocked out of power after Thursday's storm last week. So it's now nearly a full week that people have been without power. And you had the utility there with several officials breaking down all of what they're dealing with, starting with Doug Brown, the chief engineer for City Water, Light, and Power at last night's Springfield City Council meeting. We'll get to that in a moment. But the Council Roundup brought to you each and every week by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch. Head West Subs. All right, let's get right on into it with the Springfield City Council meeting last night. Here's Doug Brown.
It's a lot. And they're working long days, 17-hour days when they're on shift. So they're giving it their all. And just, the devastation, though, again, I'm not going to keep driving this in. So because the public just doesn't seem to understand I know they're frustrated. Get that. But the devastation for the widespread across our community is, we just haven't seen that in decades with this kind of the wide scope and the breadth of it. And it's terrible to be without power for basically almost a week. It really is. And we're going to work tirelessly until we get everybody back on. And we just ask everyone to stay respectful, patient. But I also want to thank the elected officials, too, everywhere, for understanding just how difficult the situation is and supporting our employees for the job that they are doing.
So it's not an easy job, no question. Brown continues to talk about what they're facing out there on the roadways, on the power lines, and so on.
Just keep watching the weather. Our electric grid remains fragile. Strong winds or storms can still cause outages. We are concerned about what we are having tonight, but it looks like it might bypass us a little bit. But there was still some pretty good winds out there that could basically cause some of the tree limbs that are already weakened to fall onto the power lines. Actually, even if no wind, the tree limbs are still weakened. They could still fall on the power lines at some unknown moment, and the customer would lose power.
Obviously something that they have to continue to worry about. More from the utility last night.
Well, hey, I had power, then I went back off. Well, sometimes when we're doing repairs, we do have to take customers back off to fix something and then put them back on. And we'll try to minimize that as much as we can. Like yesterday, we also had a vehicle hit a pole and an insulator failure yesterday afternoon, and basically it dumped a lot of customers, especially on the MacArthur substation. And it took a few hours just to get that fixed.
So you've got other external things outside of last week's storms that are causing some problems along the way. More from
the severity of damage with this is it is impossible to provide estimates for everybody for their areas. It's impossible. The damage is so widespread. We're still walking down circuits, at the individual levels and assessing what those are, and then organizing the tickets for those repairs, and then we assign crews to those.
And the logistics of all of this has got to be just daunting, and more from the utility.
I'm going to have Matt Huff here soon really discuss the complexity of that. But we have 133 additional personnel on site with 112 trucks from various areas throughout the country. COP has 75 personnel and 50 trucks, so that's over 200 people in the field trying to restore power. So we've more than doubled our numbers. And we have more arriving tomorrow.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that so many people from around the region are coming together on this. Here's more.
But we've contacted all the electrical contractors that are licensed in the city of Springfield, notifying them that we will provide them with a meter lock key if they provide a deposit. This will allow them to disconnect the overhead service from the weatherhead. This is on the person's house, on their meter. And reconnect it to our lines. This will help us and the customers, due to the volume of calls we are receiving, to reconnect services and not take away from the other restoration efforts. Customers should ask their contractor if they have a meter lock key if they want to be able to speed up their service reconnection.
And then they had another utility official there to talk more about the continued recovery efforts.
For those of you that haven't met me, my name is Matt Huff. I'm the Superintendent of Distribution and General Services here for CWLP. And I've worked here since 1999. So it's been a great place to work, and thank you for having me.
So Matt, he talks about just all of the logistics involved with all of this.
And so when we're talking about how long things take, these crews get to the job site, and the first thing they have to do is provide for their own safety and provide for the safety of the public. So they have to make sure lines are de-energized, and to do that, sometimes that means driving from Shields to Chatham and making sure everything's safe. They get the work done. While they're around, we kind of talk about the public coming out and talking to them and things like this. It's always great to see faces, and it's always great to shake hands. But to be honest, it kind of slows them down. So the best thing the public can do, if you have any advice for them, is say thank you and just move on. That way it doesn't slow them down. One little problem we've had in the past and recently, report malicious activity. Some people like to roll up this wire and take it with them, and we need it. So if you can pass anything on to people, please do that.
That's wild to think about in this time that people would do such a thing, but you got to deal with it.
So we're looking at all of the outages on quadrant based on the largest outage that we have. And then we also try to prioritize, special interest things like hospitals, nursing homes, retirement centers, all these things, intersections, traffic lights, tornado sirens, all of those things go into consideration. So there's just one thing I want to say about the city of Springfield and City Water, Light and Power. I've worked here a long time, and everyone in this room and everyone in the city should be very proud of the employees. People are putting in a lot of work.
Absolutely.
No question, a lot of focus on the employees and the hard work they're doing day in, day out, working 15-hour days at times, more from the utility last night.
One of the other things, too, which we've talked about and past couple of years, actually, is going to AMI meters. AMI give you the detail. Basically, we know who's on and off at every location that has a meter.
These new meters cost a lot of money. We're talking $18 million, I think was one estimate. So whether or not that's going to provide some kind of more immediate notification about who has power, who doesn't have power, making sure that the map is as accurate as possible with the outage map that the City Water, Light and Power utility has available. So we'll hear a lot more, including questions from aldermen about the ongoing process of cleaning up. We'll hear a bit from Public Works, all from last night's Springfield City Council meeting here with WMAY. Don't forget, you can contact City Hall and get more information about all of the different resources there are, from the Bank of Springfield Center with hot meals to cooling stations. The YMCA is involved with all of this as well. So a lot of resources available for those who are still without power. All right, it is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Got to take a break. 7:19 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Work with a team that cares about being the best part of the customer's day. Apply today at Culver's West on Wabash.
This summer, Coors Light wants you to retire, even if it's only temporary. Take a break from your 9 to 5 for 9 holes of golf.
4.
Trade those spreadsheets for a bingo card.
7.
Bingo!
Or swap your office chair for a water aerobics floaty.
Cool noodles up, everyone!
This summer, welcome to temporary retirement. Coors Light, made to chill. Copyright 2023 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Pop quiz hot shot. What's the number one SUV right now? Do you know? I know Mike Quimby from Green Hyundai knows. Mike?
That's right, Greg. Hey, one of the hardest ones to break it with is Motor Trend Magazine. They came out with their August edition last week, and the number one SUV across the board, 9 other SUVs compared in this comparison. Beautiful, beautiful Palisade, 7 and 8 row, got number one SUV out of all those. Now, also Motor Trend came up with the comparison that Hyundai sells for less money, and the Hyundai gets better gas mileage and has more luxury than the competition. So that's the beautiful part of it. And then again, TrueCar, best SUV under $30,000. That's the Hyundai Tucson for $28,000 base price. So all these vehicles are backed up by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. You too can win, and win big, at Green Hyundai on the low overhead east side of Springfield, 1200 South Dirksen Parkway.
Mike Quimby, Green Hyundai. Have a great day.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
They may have told you it can't be done. You may think there is no way to do it, but at Rex Battery, changing an iPhone battery is a piece of cake. It's true, many iPhone models have batteries that can be replaced. And if yours is still working fine, except for the battery, don't get rid of it, replace it. We have the tools and the right battery to put extra life in an old iPhone. If your iPhone has a dreaded crack down the screen, we can fix that too. For decades, Rex Battery has been finding the right battery to get the job done. Big, small, and hard to get to. iPhone batteries can be replaced in many of the models so you can have more talk time, more selfie time, and more time to learn that TikTok dance. New batteries and broken screen repair now available at Rex Battery. From the tiniest hearing aids to the biggest farm equipment, nobody knows batteries better than Rex. Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Some people would call him a loser. He ran for state office. He was beaten. He started a business. He failed. He ran for Congress. He lost. He was nominated for vice president. He lost again. But he knew only those who never tried are the real losers. And Abraham Lincoln was no loser. Persistence. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
50% off everything is yours for a limited time through July 6th during the Endless Summer event at Banana Republic Factory. Celebrate the season with linen suiting, breezy dresses, timeless neutrals, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, back with the Council Roundup, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch. And don't forget about deliveries, Head West Subs. Hearing from last night's Springfield City Council meeting, we heard the utility, City Water, Light, and Power, talk about all the trucks they've got out, all of the efforts they've got in to restore power after last Thursday's widespread damage from high winds, snapping trees onto power lines and snapping power poles, knocking out power to tens of thousands of people all across the region, including in Springfield. They now have that down under 5,000, but the work continues. Alderwoman Lakeisha Purchase laying out some of the concerns that she's experienced firsthand from last night's Springfield City Council meeting.
The boxes on our house. That's the most phone calls that I'm getting right now, is that people poles and their boxes have fell off their houses, and they also don't have the means to pay for them to get them back on. And I'm explaining to them, they asked about the cost, having a electrician come out, and we're getting like mixed messages. The tree companies are coming out and saying that CWLP can do it. The electrical companies are saying CWLP can do it. So I think your email will be very helpful. And maybe Ms. Amber is very good at graphics to just explain that process for people on private properties.
Yeah, that's been in some of the communication emails I've sent. I know you've had some power issues yourself, and
I explained that.
I'm sure there's others too, right?
But I explained that to them too, that I've been personally through it and showed them the process of it.
And so the outage page that we have, there is information on there, kind of what is their repair, the homeowner's repair versus the utilities repair. So there's a great graphic on there, a picture that explains that pretty well. So I would encourage anybody that has damage on their home to go to the web page and look at that.
I will share that photo. Yeah. And Madam Mayor, maybe this is something that you can bring up too, because there's constituents of mine that can't afford to get that box put back on. Like, it cost me $800 to do it to my home, and they saying that they don't have the funds to do that.
Director Yeasel has a conference call with HUD to see if we can get some federal assistance with that.
Okay.
So obviously that's a major concern for private property owners, and something I think will be an ongoing concern. Here's Alderman Roy Williams Jr. with some questions.
Some of my folks in my ward have been telling me they would run up to the vehicle, in desperation. Hey, you here for us? And in the conversation, that person doesn't know they're out. They says, oh, you're out of power. And then the constituent is saying, what? You CWLP? Yeah, I'm out of power. So
I kind of want to be able to explain how that happens. So everybody that is sent out, they may be in the area but not know for sure who has it and don't?
Well, I guess, not every house would be out necessarily if they go to an area. So they're better on asking if the person's out, so that way they definitely 100% know that you're out. It's not they're trying to be disrespectful in any manner at all. They're just trying to make sure they dot the I's and cross the T's.
Okay.
On that.
Some more from last night's meeting. You had, I believe, Alderman Brad Carlson ask some questions about priority for various areas of the city.
So our first priority is to get all the feeder circuits on it, because really without that, all the stuff below it just doesn't matter. So we have to get the feeders back on, the main feeders, and then as you step down to the next level, which is like what they call the laterals, or the backbone, really, of the electric grid, then we start looking at those kinds of things to take into consideration if we can. But again, when we're dealing with an area of 200 over here, 500 over there, and a group of 5 over here, there's still too many that are in that kind of that category, of that. But as we get further down, that it's just going to come more into play.
So it's just a volume thing.
It's
Obviously, in a normal course of operation, if there was just a few hundred out, then that's when this priority list would kick in.
Yes.
And you can get a much smaller micro level to get them. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we did, like I think Matt touched on, we try to get major medical facilities, nursing homes, the ones with a large amount of people, grocery stores, those kinds of things. That's what we're trying to get first, and then start other things. Yeah.
Alderwoman Erin Conley having some questions as well, and some points that she wanted to ensure were clear when it comes to restoring power across the community. Here she is.
So as our crews go through an area, they understand to go down every street and every alley and visit every house. And if there's a house that they can't reconnect because of the damage or something that they need to get fixed, they'll leave them a hazard card, and we keep track of all those by serial number.
Okay, so you've been leaving hazard cards?
Yeah. So
I haven't heard from anyone who's gotten those yet, so
yeah,
I'm sure they're
if
plenty.
our crews go there, they'll get a hazard card, and then that comes back to our ops center, and then we'll have this nice little stack of
There we
hazard
go.
cards that we'll have to reassess later. And that's one thing that we're always careful of, right? When we say we've been in your area, and then we say, okay, well, now we're leaving that area, and there's still a couple of people out of power. The only reason they should still be out of power once we remove that and we decide that we're leaving there is because we can't do it.
We got a lot more to get to from last night's Springfield City Council meeting with utility crews talking about the continued efforts to restore energy and so on. So obviously a lot more to tackle here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch. Head West Subs. All right, 7:30 now. Let's get a headline check.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the 3 big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Earth's average temperature on Wednesday remained at an unofficial record high set the day before. The average global temperature was 62.9 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer. That matched a record set Tuesday and came after a previous record was set Monday. While some countries had colder weather than usual, heat waves hit cities from Peru to Canada. City Water, Light and Power says that as of 5:30 this morning, about 6% of customers are still without power. A line of thunderstorms yesterday evening caused about 1,000 power outages, but crews have made steady progress since then. For those who lose power, the city of Springfield, the local YMCAs, the Salvation Army, and the American Red Cross have set up cooling and battery recharging stations throughout the city. Locations can be found by calling 217-789-2270 or by visiting WMAY.com. Newly passed legislation will expand access to overdose prevention supplies. The new law will allow for trained overdose responders to legally dispense adulterant testing kits, which currently may only be provided by pharmacists, physicians, and other medical professionals. The aim is to prevent people from unknowingly ingesting drugs laced with fentanyl by making testing supplies more readily available to whoever needs them. The new law will take effect on January 1st, 2024. The city of Springfield is proposing to improve Martin Luther King Jr. Drive between South Grand Avenue and Clear Lake Avenue and wants input from residents. The city's Public Works Department will hold an informational meeting at the Salvation Army at 1600 East Clear Lake Avenue on Wednesday, July 12th at 4 p.m. Project-related exhibits will be on display for the public with representatives and consultants available to answer any questions. Members of the public are invited to submit comment forms at the meeting or deliver them to the city afterwards. Springfield's chief utility engineer, Doug Brown, warned of potential future power outages during a press conference yesterday. He said that the city's infrastructure was in a weakened state and that systems remain fragile. There are thousands of damaged trees in the city, and windy weather could cause them to come into contact with power lines, provoking more power outages. He said the city remains on track to reach its goal of 97% power restoration by Sunday. The Illinois State Fair has pushed back its livestock entry deadline to tomorrow due to hardships caused by power outages and property damage in the region. Entries must be postmarked by July 7 or delivered by that date to the Emerson Building on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Illinois State Fair manager Rebecca Clark said, "Health, life, and safety should always come first." The fair begins August 10th and runs through August 20th. Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
WMAY News, brought to you by The Inn at 835. Let The Inn at 835 handle your next business or social gathering with style.
Are you a side sleeper? Maybe you need some extra comfort for your back. The Sealy Eurotop mattress can be just right. During Sealy Hot Buys, queen-size Eurotop mattresses are just $599 at Just Beds. Here's another offer. Nothing beats the body-hugging support of the Sealy Crown Jewel mattress. During Sealy Hot Buys, Just Beds has them at up to $240 off. Free delivery, free setup, free haul away from the Yawn Exterminators on Montvale, Springfield. Just Beds.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
50% off everything is yours for a limited time through July 6th during the Endless Summer event at Banana Republic Factory. Celebrate the season with linen suiting, breezy dresses, timeless neutrals, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Listen at home with your Amazon smart speaker. Alexa, play WMAY. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Mostly sunny today with a high near 82, low around 59 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 81, low around 64. Saturday, showers likely with a high near 77, low around 63. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 82. And Monday, sunny with a high near 85 degrees. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by Lauterbach Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
Hey, what's going on? Just want to take 1 minute to tell you about BLH Computers because they are the place to take that laptop, also that desktop, when it starts to slow down, because it might just be a simple fix to get you back up and running. And the team over at BLH Computers, they are amazing and they will get you back up and running as quickly as possible. When you purchase a computer over at BLH Computers, you are getting something that you're not getting when you buy a computer at a big box store. And that is the exclusive BLH guarantee, which means if you buy the computer at BLH Computers, repairs are free, no labor charges, all all in-stock parts are free, and because BLH Computers is the largest electronics recycler in the region, they pretty much always have those parts that they need in stock. Don't forget to take those old electronics that have maybe just been sitting around the house for a very long time, get them out of the house, take them to BLH Computers for safe recycling. So those small repairs that maybe have just been put off for a while, get it over to the fine folks over at BLH Computers, get it taken care of. Their locations are in Springfield, Jacksonville, also in Taylorville. Like and follow them on Facebook. Learn more online, blhcomputers.com.
What are you hungry for?
Obed and Isaac sounds good.
They're always busy.
Yeah, they are. It's because the food is great. The selection of craft beer is amazing, and it's downtown. It couldn't be at a better location.
What if we have to wait?
We'll put in our name, give them our number to text us when our table is ready, and then go next door to the 7th Street Cidery and start there.
I like the way you think. They serve meads too, right?
Yeah, they do. You can get your mead, and I'll start with a flight of cider. They're constantly getting new ciders on tap all the time.
What if Obed's isn't busy and they seat us right away?
The cidery doesn't close till 11, so we can just finish the night there.
You've got this all figured out, don't you?
Yeah, I do. You should see my reward points that I've built up.
So you're buying, right?
I didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
No, you didn't.
Obed and Isaac's Microbrewery, located in downtown Springfield, right next door to the 7th Street Cidery. Enjoy.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Back with the Council Roundup, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Don't forget, City of Springfield has tons of resources available for you. You can call the American Red Cross, 1-800-733-2767. You can also contact the city, Public Works, for ideas on how they're getting to address all of the scattered limbs and branches and whatnot. 789-2255, 789-2255. There's cooling centers. A whole bunch of information, help for seniors, and so on. So be sure to get to the City of Springfield's website for the latest contact information on a variety of resources available for you as storm cleanup continues. So they heard from City Water, Light, and Power last night about the just breadth of cleanup and the devastation that's so widespread, and the thousands that are still without power and the efforts to get them back on power. But then they had to deal with city business. And one issue that came up was the appointment of former Springfield Alderwoman Kristen DeCenso to help with the Liquor Commission. And Roy Williams Jr., he had problems with this because DeCenso is so fresh off of being an alderperson, and now she's going to be appointed to this particular role within the city. Here's Alderman Williams.
I just want to share with the council that, you know, I have read the ordinance and talked with folks about the ordinance of the difference that I brought up between the two former alderwomen. And I'll just say that that same ordinance or code says that this council does have the authority to override it or do their will, you know, as you will. I just want to remind you, Mayor, and my council members that whatever votes you take, that people are looking at this and they're seeing one former alderwoman being treated very different than another alderwoman. So I won't be supporting it, but I just wanted to say that. And yes, if there's 6 votes, it passes. But I just wanted to be on record saying that I've done my due diligence. Thank you.
So let's take a look at it. Vote comes up on the board, and you see the tallies starting to be put together. Looks like Alderman Gregory is present. Alderman Williams is president. Alderman Rockford's present. Purchase not yet voting. It's 5-3.
I feel like we're missing one.
Also, Alderman Carlson voting present. So now it's 6-4. So the measure passes.
With 6 voting yes, 4 voting present.
So congratulations to Alderwoman Kristen DeCenso for getting that appointment. But then they get into emergency passage ordinances.
Ordinance authorizing the purchase of a bucket trouble truck from Drake Scruggs Equipment Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $175,000 for the Office of Public Utilities for emergency passage.
So move.
Second. All right. We have a first and a second to place agenda number 2023-297 on emergency passage. Any discussion on this ordinance?
No discussion.
All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Emergency passage requires the mayor to also
And
vote.
the motion passes with 11 voting yes, none voting no.
Now for the
next item on the
extension.
agenda is item number 2023-323.
State of emergency.
A resolution continuing the declaration of local state of emergency through July 12th, 2023 for emergency passage.
So move.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion on this ordinance?
No discussion.
The voting is now open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
And it's approved unanimously with the mayor voting yes.
And the motion carries with 11 voting yes, none voting no.
So the state of emergency is continued in Springfield because of the ongoing storms. Here's Mayor Misty Buscher and Alderman Gregory.
So those that are displaced aldermen can go to the BOS Center, and the American Red Cross is set up there for 24/7. And it is, if any of you in the council chambers want to go view that, it is amazing what they have set up over there. It is really, really amazing. So they can stay for free there and get food and drink. And then also for those who are homeowners that need help with debris removal, not renters, just homeowners, they can contact the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team. They are here. The phone number is 217-341-2416.
Can you say that one more time?
Slow down. I talk fast, Alderman, sorry. 217-341-2416. Thank you. And they are in the community now, and they will assess, and they are here just to help homeowners with the debris removal, because there are homeowners who cannot get to that, as you are stating, Alderman Gregory.
Important resources to be had. Let's hear from the Public Works Department, Director Fuchs.
At 6:30 this morning, the Department of Public Works deployed 10 debris collection crews. That includes one crew from the Illinois Department of Transportation, and we are greatly appreciative of their efforts. We deployed at the same time, 6:30 this morning, 3 cutting crews. These are all from the Forestry Division, and these crews work exclusively right now with bucket trucks, chainsaws, cutting tree limbs that are hanging, cutting up trees that are down but are they're not really in the right-of-ways. We pretty much cleared everything out of the streets, but the sidewalks and whatnot. So they've been concentrating on that. A good way that we keep track of our progress is the number of loads of debris that we have hauled.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
As of about 3 o'clock this afternoon, we had hauled 157 truckloads of debris. Our total since last Friday is 590 truckloads of debris.
It's a lot of debris.
Our folks are working hard. We're cutting it up as fast as we can in trying to get it out there and get it cleared. We have activated the branch collection map. If you take a look at Public Works on the city website, we're basically using our snow control grid system. If you take a look at it, you'll see which grids have crews that are active in it today. There were 10 that were active today. Those are in the blue. Those in the yellow do not have crews that are active in those areas. So that's the way you can keep track. I can't tell you what time they're going to be cutting a tree.
No.
There's just no way I can do it. But I can tell you what part of the city they're going to be working in today. So I would encourage everyone to check. The branch map was activated, and that's the best way that we can let folks know what areas our crews are in.
So obviously, people want to know where the cleanup crews are going to be, and the city has those resources available. The Communications Relations Director.
Now, for people that have EBT, a SNAP card, a Link card, you can call the Red Cross. They'll have you call the insurance agency, and they will replace that for you free of charge.
Awesome.
Now, for our people who do not fall under those circumstances of having EBT card, SNAP, or a Link, if it tells you anything, in front of me here, I have a plan. It's 96 pages. I'm reading through it all tonight for a long-term and short-term relief plan. We'll be working on putting together a long-term relief group to not only find ways where we may be able to get SBA loans to help small businesses, individuals who are both renters and homeowners, but also to start putting in place a structure where we're training people in the community to be able to react and respond in disaster relief efforts, so we can help supplement what the Red Cross is already doing, help supplement what Public Works and CWLP are already doing from any standpoint outside of what you need to be certified for to deal with, down power lines and trees. So I don't have a exact short-term solution right now for replacing food that was lost. I've been talking to a lot of people. I spoke to an elderly member of the community today who is in a walker. She has a fridge full of food that has expired. She just got her power back on. What I suggested to her was I provided her with the non-emergency line for the fire department to call and ask if perhaps some firefighters could come out and help her remove the...
Not necessary. Call the office of the mayor. I have to look up the
We've got another number for that now.
We've got an answer for this. Ethan Posey, 217-789-2200. Call the office of the mayor.
Yes. Call
the
that.
American Business Club has agreed to go help people who cannot get that food out.
That's great.
Thank you. Big shout out to American Business Club.
So something else to consider, too, is power outages for hotels. And that was something that Alderman Brad Carlson brought up and the Director of Visitor and Tourism, Scott Dahl, addressed.
We have 5 hotels that are closed due to no power on South Dirksen Parkway right now. So that's really where our communication's been. So, you know, our average rate in the city has gone up in the last couple of years. I mean, we're averaging about $105 across the board. So again, you've got to take that all in consideration from the different tiers.
Yeah, they didn't. I asked what specific hotel. They gave me a rate over the phone of $300. That's from the constituent. I said, what did they ask? They go, well, they were asking $300. And then, you know, so who knows? But I just want to pass it on.
So obviously, that's another major concern as well when it comes to the efforts of the city to restore power. What about those hotels? Alderwoman Purchase will have the last word here, talking about a program that she helped organize to get people's laundry done.
I just want to say just thank you to all my colleagues. Everybody has been really pitching in. We did about over 19,000 loads at All-in-One the past 3 days, and I get a little teary-eyed because people really had a need for washing their clothes while they didn't have power. Our downtown businesses came together, brought barbecue pits out, and I was so happy I got to eat a steak. So the community really came together in these last 3 days to help out, and so we're continuing to work together and putting all attitudes aside, and it's really, really helpful to see that going on. So thank you.
That's your council roundup. A lot more last night that we didn't necessarily have time to get to, but obviously focus on cleanup from the storm is ongoing and something that we'll hear a lot more about in the days ahead. Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. All right, stay tuned. It's now 7:49 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Deliver smiles, butter burgers, fresh custard, and great service. Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all positions.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. We stand behind what we sell. We offer so much more. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health, and it doesn't cost a thing. Spending time outside. That's right, the natural light, the wind against your skin, the sounds and fragrances of the season all work in concert to help you feel better. Now, you can't treat clinical depression and addiction with just one step. Those are more serious problems, especially with drugs and alcohol. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychologists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Your insurance covers treatment, and the Family Medical Leave protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE, 877-505-HOPE, and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine, saving lives. Not your basic grand opening. Think of it as a grand reopening of the previous grand reopening. Well, it's a long story. But the remodeling project at Hendrick's Home Furnishings is finished. And inside that newly remodeled area, Sunset West Outdoor Furniture. I know, Sunset West Outdoor Furniture inside the store. Yeah, it's another long story. Stop by for details and visit for the celebration now through July 16th at the place where you can always talk to the owner, Hendrick's on Route 4 in Verdon, and online at hendricks.tv.
Here's what's happening right now at Green Certified West.
Not another goat dropping. Hey guys, another goat dropping.
A what?
The goats. They keep dropping the prices on all these quality pre-owned vehicles. I wasn't what I was expecting.
The goats are just doing what they do best, giving the Green Certified West customers their very best deals and amazing customer service.
These prices are too low. We have a business to run. Hey, you, goat, not another dropping on my lot.
Come see the Goat Squad at Green Certified West for your very best deal.
50% off everything is yours for a limited time through July 6th during the Endless Summer event at Banana Republic Factory. Celebrate the season with linen suiting, breezy dresses, timeless neutrals, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Your next vacation to Punta Gorda, Fort Myers, Florida is just a quick flight away with nonstop flights from Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport. Enjoy lounging on the beach, golfing the stunning courses, or catching up with family in the Sunshine State. Find yourself a warm getaway with low fares from Allegiant and your friends at Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, where parking is always free. Book your trip today at Allegiant.com. Fly local, fly SPI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.